Let's get into why you went to the United States of America. You made a conscious choice to get out of Canada, obviously because it was beneficial to you. It's the same thing with comedians. It's the same thing with actors. It's the same thing with authors. Anybody who wants to make it that's from Canada, their goal is not to make it in Canada. Their goal is to make it in the United States of America because that's when you're considered successful. Because the economy is so huge. Not only that, 85% of our GDP in Alberta already depends on the United States of America to begin with.
Sure.
So let's talk about
Sure.
the benefits with getting out of Canada with you and why you're glad you did and your thoughts on it now. We've got 5 minutes left in this segment before we go to a commercial break.
It sounds good. Sounds good. I'm writing this book is, it's why I came to America and what I think now. And I went through this actual process, decision-making process, back in 1983. I was completely, to put it simply, I was completely sick and tired of Quebec politics. Can you imagine that? Quebec inflation coming out of the burnout Trudeau years. And to tell you the truth, one person, if you will, really made my decision. That was a gentleman named Ronald Reagan. And in 1983, I said, you know what? If in the United States of America they had seen oppression like we saw in Quebec, we touched on that earlier, of course, with martial law and so forth, Americans wouldn't tolerate it. Ronald Reagan wouldn't tolerate it. And in a nutshell, I just wanted to really free up my own life. I was getting taxed, as you know, Canadian taxes, and never mind Quebec taxes added on to that.
Oh, yeah, we're taxed to death here. Taxed to death.
I can't believe it. I was a real estate guy. I worked real hard. In 1980 or 81, I had a month where I made $4,000 as a real estate guy, and it took a lot to make $4,000 back in the 80s. And I couldn't believe seeing that paycheck turn into barely $2,000.
Yeah.
And I said, something's wrong here, because as you know, the top 3%, even 5%, whatever, pay the majority of the taxes. And I was one of those guys in Quebec. When I came down to the United States and lived for the first year under Ronald Reagan and did my taxes for the first time, Mike, I thought I won the lottery. In America, I had never heard of tax write-offs and just kind of capitalist benefits, and it was really, really an eye-opener for me. And really, starting minute one, especially tax time in the first year, I never regretted for a minute leaving Canada or leaving Quebec. Although I miss my friends and family dearly, I never regretted it for a second. And to this moment, and regardless of who the president is, I thank God every single day that I'm in America and that I have the freedoms that I have. And no more has it been more evident than watching that Freedom Convoy, where we're being able to compare freedom versus oppression.